I'll come to you. Hi guys, welcome. It is Wednesday, and we are in an art studio, as you can see, over in Eugene, and we are near Bailey Hill Elementary School, and we're meeting here because art is going to be one of the ways that a new nonprofit in town helps our kids with bullying. It's really so much more than that. Hi, Karen. Good to see you. You're going to love this. I swear you are going to absolutely love this topic. Because this is a new group called ElRod Center. And one of the women starting it is not here today. But, you know, there's always a connection in life. Relationship is everything, right? Julie was our babysitter of my kids when my kids were when she was 10 years old. My kids were little. And now Julie has teamed up with Miriam.
Hi.
And give them your last name.
Stigler.
So you say it right. She is a professional therapist.
Yes.
So she works in the industry. She studied, you have your master's?
I have my master's and a certification in play therapy.
Okay, so she has done extensive research on this stuff. And you guys, you're going to get blown away by what you hear today. Because I just heard this for the last 10 minutes, and I'm like going, oh my gosh, this is absolutely amazing. So we're going to talk. You know what I want to do?
Yeah.
I want to sit down because I don't want to have to sit here and hold this. So let's sit down. We're going to come over here,
Okay.
and we'll have Art in the back. And because you guys, this is going to be just an intense conversation. But if you are, if you're out there and you're frustrated and you're thinking, why are kids bullying so much? What's going on? What's happening? You're going to hear some answers today that I think are going to kind of, they're going to, I don't know if you ever have brain like that. I love those kind of days when you go, that's what it is. So talk to me. What is going on with our children?
So there's a number of different things going on, but basically what's going on is they're being bombarded right now with adult-style stressors, and they're just not equipped to process them.
So emotionally, they can't.
Emotionally, they can't process that. They're not equipped. They're not trained. They have not built up the skill, and they weren't born to be able to.
How come we do, like adults, are we better at this?
Yes.
We learned it.
We learned it.
So it's technology that has got to kind of, it's just our culture.
It's a number of things. So over a period of time, our culture has shifted. It used to be that there was a lot of stay-at-home parents. A lot of what we learn, what the kids learn, is through modeling. And
so this, what
yes.
you and I are doing right now.
The interpersonal interaction.
This conversation. Correct. So that's a valuable, vital part of being a adolescent, a kid, and then growing into adulthood.
Correct. So for instance, the way that you're reacting to what I'm doing right now, I would learn how to react in a similar situation in life.
Oh.
So if you freaked out over something that I said, I would know that that's something that I should probably have a big emotional response to in life if I was a kid.
That is crazy.
Right.
So online, except for like a live thing like this, they see that. But when you're just typing things or sending a meme or something like that, you're not getting that reaction of how to feel.
Correct. And then a lot of the stuff online is not even real. And so they're getting modeling that isn't even accurate because it's not real life.
Right.
And so they're taking in all of this artificial stimuli that isn't even true. It's not even accurate. Plus, it's a false sense of connectivity socially that does not produce the same reaction in the body that this does. This produces an interaction that causes neurotransmitters to be produced.
So neurotransmitters are being produced right now between you and in my body. Correct. Because of our conversation.
Correct. And those neurotransmitters tell our body to release different types of chemicals and hormones that give us positive chemical reactions that help us feel good based on different interactions and different stimuli. But when you're interacting with a phone or a computer, you're expecting to experience those, but you don't get them.
So ElRod Center would go in and you would teach through art and other things, other processes, because you're an expert at this. You would teach kids what emotion they're feeling right now.
That's one of the things we would teach. So,
you're angry.
Correct.
Because they don't know how to define what that is. And we tell them, are you angry? Well, they don't know.
Exactly. So there's a number of things that we do right now. We often ask kids how they're feeling. They have no idea. They're expecting us to tell them so that they can build up that emotion vocabulary.
And that would happen naturally in the world, not this world, but that would happen naturally in the world if they had all those parents around, people, positive influences, not being on a computer.
Correct.
So they're really talking about that. That kind of is fascinating to me.
Correct. In addition, emotional intelligence has a lot of positive coping strategies for when they are feeling overwhelmed that these kids just aren't learning.
So how does this impact bullying? Because you guys, this is really, this is so cool. Explain to people what's happening with our children, why they're bullying, and like we were just talking.
Okay, so when somebody is bullying, they are expressing a need to be superior over somebody else. And when they feel superior over somebody else, they feel powerful, right? And when you feel powerful, you release cortisol. Cortisol is a neurotransmitter hormone that is a stress hormone. And that stress hormone gives you an initial feeling of a positive feeling, a feeling of power. But it comes at a great cost.
What's the cost?
The cost is physical. The cost is emotional. It's toxic to the body. It often comes with health costs and things of that nature, real negative attitude, just feeling ucky, and it only the feel-good part of it only lasts for a few minutes, and so you have to continue doing it. The cortisol was meant for emergency situations like
right.
a mom lifting a car off a baby.
Right, you get into a car accident and you have to be able to get out of that car. That cortisol kicks in, and then
right.
it's supposed to shoot back down when it's done.
Right.
So for them, if it shoots down, now we're back in depression.
And then they need it again. And then they need it again. And then they need it again.
Wow.
Because when you're a teenager,
You have to explain this part.
Okay.
Let's listen to this.
Okay, so when you're a kid, your neurotransmitters and hormones are right here on a level that's pretty even.
Kid up till puberty.
Right, so up until about age 11. You're right about here, most kids. So I'm going to say most kids because with all the stress and the trauma and the broken homes and everything, we have a lot of kids that are experiencing depression these days. But most kids are usually right about here, and they get little spurts of positive feel-good neurotransmitters, and it's supposed to be oxytocin, which you get from this with your parent. That is what it's supposed to be. Those are the positive, lasting neurotransmitters and hormones that help build up the sense of self, the sense of well-being, the sense of control, the sense of comfort, and
in a healthy relationship.
In a healthy
with
relationship. Okay, so once you hit age 11, the brain starts to remodel. And when that happens, they go from here down into depression land. This is every single teenager.
So that's why our kids get so nasty.
Correct, around age 11. And it's a sudden drop. It's a sudden drop, and they're not ready for it. And so they go from here to here. But what happens...
That's natural.
That's natural. It's supposed to happen. And this has nothing to do with puberty. This is not sexual in any way. This is just their brain remodeling. But what happens is they're able to counteract that with super high spurts of the positive neurotransmitters, right? And if they have learned to get those positive neurotransmitters from their family and from their parents in the right way beforehand, then when they're teens, they're going to be able to easily do it as teens and counteract that and not be depressed.
But they'll still be...
Their baseline will still be down here.
They're still bratty.
They're still bratty because their baseline is down here.
But they have that ability to shoot up where you see those mood swings in kids.
And what they're looking for, those payoffs come from meeting new people, trying new things, taking risks, acquiring new skills, excelling at things.
Do you guys hear
being
this?
Successful. Those type, getting girlfriends,
trying new things. Yeah,
relationships, friendship groups.
So we should be encouraging our kids in their teen years to try different things. Go try baseball. Go try ping pong.
Exactly. Get them out and moving and doing stuff because they're going to get those super high spurts of the neurotransmitters and hormones that's going to counteract them living down here.
Okay, now, listen to this. This is the part I want you to hear. Listen really carefully, okay? Because this is the important part.
Yeah.
So if they don't get that from trying new things, and they're not encouraged to reach out and experiment with stuff in life, and then what happens?
then they have to try to seek out positivity or positive feel good in a different way.
So they need those spikes. A kid needs those spikes. They're going to go looking for them. They got to find a way to get them. So if they're not getting them from positive things, then
they're going to go for cortisol.
And what
because
brings cortisol?
Because it feels good.
Bullying,
fighting, arguing, bickering. Those kids that argue when there's nothing to argue about, they're getting constant cortisol after cortisol after cortisol.
So it feels good because they're getting, God, that explains so much about how kids respond.
Yeah, and they're addicted to the cortisol. I mean, oftentimes when I'm working with teens or even younger kids, they have no idea why they're arguing. They don't know. They're like, I have no idea why I keep arguing. It seems normal to them. Yeah, I just wanted, it just felt good. I wanted to argue. And it's because they're addicted to that cortisol. They don't know how to transition it from that into a healthy, positive neurotransmitter that sends in the signals. Oftentimes they'll turn to drugs because the drugs will give that artificial boost of the positivity.
So smoking, anything like that. So what happens, how do kids get, and this may not be, if it's not appropriate, then just tell me, but how do they get suicidal?
So oftentimes kids feel hopeless. That's what, suicide is a final end when they feel like there's no other option.
God, that's just so horrible.
And many, many of our kids feel like there's nothing to live for. They have no hope for the future. And that's really, really sad.
It's horrible. I
mean,
and it's not a judgment on them. It's just,
that's how they feel.
Imagine getting to that point where you just have, you don't even want to live the cortisol anymore.
They have no dreams. They have no goals. They have no desire to do anything. They don't want to leave their house. They have no skills. They have no desire to have any kind of extracurricular activities. They have, and I'm not talking about every teen, but I'm just saying that there's a good portion. Their only thing is video games, which is just flooding their brain with artificial stimuli that is drowning out any normal stimuli. So their executive functioning is not having to work.
So and this, we're not being anti-social media things,
no.
But what it is that you have to understand they need this.
They need the interaction piece.
Real life stuff. And then but right now, we were just talking. Look how many times you go to a restaurant, you see families, and everybody in the family is sitting here like this. They're not getting this. They're not learning that from that.
And don't get me wrong. I have a phone. I have a computer.
Okay, I work on mine.
You know, there's another piece to this, though.
Okay.
The consequences. Children are learning that they don't have consequences for their choices. And let me clarify this. They are learning that there are only consequences for their choices if they get caught. They're learning that from an early age, that it's the parent or the police officer or somebody else that dictates their consequences, not their choices. And that's a societal issue. That's a parenting issue and a societal issue, and that is taking that consequences piece out of the equation when they are considering their actions.
So we as a culture have created this atmosphere.
Yeah. So
by not disciplining. What is it? What is it that we're not? What are we?
We're disciplining, but we're disciplining in such a way where we're saying, "Hey, I am disciplining you," instead of you're choosing this consequence by choosing that choice.
Oh.
You chose to do that, so you chose to drink and drive, so you chose to go to jail. You chose to steal that candy bar, so you chose to go pay for it and
have
do
to go
to
to some program and under youth services and that kind of thing. It's your choice.
You chose to.
What do we do instead?
So
make up excuses.
Give them the choices, assign the choice and consequence, and follow through every time.
That's what we don't do.
And then nurture them through the consequence, because when it's their choice that's giving them the consequence, we can then nurture them and be there and support them through it. So in other words, let me give you an example.
Okay.
So if a child chooses timeout because they chose not to go to their room and clean up when they're supposed to, right? So you give them the choice. You can choose to clean your room and choose to come out and watch TV, or you can choose not to and choose timeout. Which do you choose, right? They choose timeout.
Right.
I'm so sorry you chose timeout, right? Well, then they're like, no, I don't want timeout. I'm going to go. The moment you chose not to go clean your room, you chose timeout. I'm really sorry you chose that. So then while they're doing the timeout, you can hug them, you can comfort them, say, I'm so sorry you chose timeout. I know this is really hard. They're crying. you're comforting them, they're in their consequence.
Right.
And you're still their comforter.
So we don't allow our children to go through the consequences. Therefore, we become adults who don't understand consequences in our lives.
And we don't assign the consequences to the choice every single time. We assign it to us punishing them.
So then if we do that as adults and children,
Yeah.
then we raise another generation of this. And so we are causing our choices.
Well, we're just
our
perpetuating
choices.
it.
Yeah. So how is ElRod Center going to do something different? You guys are going to use art therapy. I love this. So
Yeah.
we're going to use art therapy to actually teach our children. That kind of makes me a little emotional, actually.
Yeah.
To attach the proper feeling to something. That it's okay to be sad or to be happy or touched by something that happens. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
So what we're going to do is we're actually going to train professional artists, and some that are just, goofing around but are really, really good, that are going to volunteer to teach classes. And I'm going to train them in emotional intelligence, child development, interpersonal neurobiology, and neurodevelopment. And then they're going to turn around and teach those classes in such a way that's going to increase the emotional intelligence of every kid. What that's going to do, that's going to increase their sense of self, their self-esteem, their self-confidence, their overall well-being. That's going to give them coping skills, healthy coping strategies, and teach them an emotion vocabulary and the ability to process some big emotions naturally and express what they have inside when they don't have the words to do it through art. So we're doing all of this by just teaching an art class, whether it's dance, drama, theater, singing, songwriting.
So can I
painting.
make like an observation?
Yeah.
It's interesting to me that a number of our schools, our public schools, have cut art.
Yeah.
One of the first things we cut out, when really this could be the way that, especially some of the kids we're talking about, like me when I was a kid, a little bit of a problem child, that's how we communicate.
It is.
We see the world that way, and then we don't, so we keep things that make it, I'm just going to be really bad. We keep things that allow us to get better scores on statewide testing, but we refuse to keep things into our schools because we don't have the funding for things that would really teach our kids how to do. So we have this bullying problem, and we keep going more towards passing standardized tests than we do towards teaching our kids how to communicate, how to have this, and how to have life. And that's my little personal, there, I'll get off my soapbox now. But I find it absolutely fascinating that you guys are going to go back and we're going back to the basics here.
Yes.
Art, music, drama, all those great things in life that help us to expose who we are to people.
With a very therapeutic point.
Yeah, this isn't just an art class.
No, we're going to have the kids going through mindfulness practices.
What's that?
Mindfulness is where they're doing mindfulness meditation, they're clearing their brain, they're checking in with their body, they're learning to be self-aware, understand what's going on.
Can you take like a 58-year-old child?
Absolutely.
I want to learn how to get those thoughts out of my head,
Absolutely. Mindfulness is amazing. And actually, studies have shown that mindfulness increases overall wellness, like physical wellness. It decreases blood pressure, decreases chances of diabetes and heart disease, and increases liver and kidney function, decreases chances of all kinds of different disorders and physical illnesses. And it's amazing. And we're going to be teaching the kids how to do this and check in with themselves, as well as when they get overwhelmed with emotion, how to take a break, take a breather, process it. Counting and naming is another strategy. Tapping, just bilateral stimulation, just a bunch of different techniques, all during the art class. And that's just one program. We've got many others.
One of the things we were talking about is bringing professionals in. We got the dog in the background. Bringing professionals. No, it's okay. So bringing professionals in to kind of teach kids and other things like businesses and that kind of thing. We were talking about having businesses come in and actually teach kids, mentor them. I'm sorry. The dog's kind of throwing me off.
Oh, yes.
Where's Chen? Mr. Chen, come get your dog.
Your dog's barking. So a life skills program for teens is what we're talking about. We're going to have a life skills program where teens are going to come and they're going to learn the basic life skills that they don't know. They're going to learn about credit, what it is, how to use it, It's not just free money.
Right.
They're going to learn how to create a. The dog's throwing me off too.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
They're gonna learn how to fill out an application to get a job. They're gonna learn how to do a resume. They're gonna learn how to cook without having a box.
Hamburger helper.
Right. They're
Not
gonna learn
hamburger
from
helper.
just eggs and flour and meat and cook a meal without, with just the staple products. They're gonna learn how to bake from scratch. They're gonna.
And by doing that, you're empowering a whole generation to not have to go to. You can control your budget this way.
Yes.
I think that's one of the things we don't teach culture is, it's all processed foods. You're teaching them how to eat healthier.
Right.
And you can create these things on your own, so you empower a kid rather than go, we have to, I just go get a box and I mix this up and
all those skills.
And what about those children who, like my wife, is like, she loves to cook. It's her artistic expression.
Exactly.
So we're missing these things because we've become such a culture of, look online, there it is. We have no process like this.
Exactly. And think of all of the big spurts of positive neurotransmitters those kids are going to be getting every time they learn those new skills.
Instead of by bullying and treating people poorly.
We're also going to be doing the professional mentorship program.
Now, how's that work?
So we are going to be taking, and anybody out there who is listening that wants to be part of this, we would love to hear from you. We're going to be taking professionals from the field, from the community, so like tradesmen and doctors and
like
attorneys.
me, like video production and Facebook Live and stuff, and I could help teach a kid.
Exactly. So we're going to actually pair them with teens, and you're going to be a mentor. A personal and professional mentor. So you're going to teach them your trade, get them all fired up, but also personally mentor them as a kind of like a big brother, big sister. And then we're going to help them get to that next level, whether it's trade school, junior college, whatever it is. We're going to fill in that gap because right now, when they graduate or they get their GED, people are just kind of patting them on the back saying, good job, see you later.
Yeah.
Have a good one. We're not going to do that. We're going to help them to that next level and set them up for success.
So follow through with them to make sure that when we were talking, Mary and I were talking about this, I said we give more assistance to a parolee than we do a graduate from our high school.
It's
so
unfortunate.
we have somebody, and they don't get a lot. I'm not saying they're overloaded with their cases, but seriously, we're paying more attention to that than we are to guide our kids to the next section of life, and then wonder why so many of them feel at 21, 22, 23 lost and not knowing what's going to happen.
Right.
Oh my gosh! So how do people get? And first, it's called ElRod.
ElRod Center.
And can you tell them why it's named ElRod? I think this is sweet. It's a sweet memory.
So ElRod comes from my co-founder Julie Nowacki, and my very dear friend. And she lost her father-in-law a year ago. His name was Rod, and he took his own life from mental illness. And she wanted to, and I wanted to honor him. And so Rod comes from him. And we decided that ElRod is going to reclaim all of those choices from people who have taken their own life. And we are going to stop this epidemic by preventing people from getting there again, stopping up the youth. So the Rod...
Is L the...
L is for God.
Okay, God.
God's rod. But ROD then is for reclaiming our destiny.
So when we, as a culture, say it takes a village to raise a child,
it really does.
It will take a village to raise a child, but not just in superficial language. And I mean, it's going to rolling up your sleeves and getting involved in this.
Getting involved. We're going to do group therapy. We're changing the face of how therapy is going to be done, because it is reactive right now and the system is broken and it needs a facelift. More than a facelift. It needs reconstructive surgery. And so...
Plus, haven't we learned, like what you're talking about, we've learned the old way they taught this, we've learned so much more since then.
Yeah.
And we're still, it's kind of like journalism school. They're still teaching people how to be a reporter for a newspaper when newspapers are dying, and not teaching them how to respond on this kind of stuff. So it's the same kind of thing. We're still, here's the basics you need to know. Well, actually, there's a lot more, and it's a lot more this.
Yes.
Rather than having a lecture, it's hands-on doing what we do.
Exactly. And there's going to be a lot of training and stuff. I'm intending on training other child therapists in appropriate techniques and tools to use. So that's another facet that is missing right now, is that training piece.
Well, you need volunteers, somebody does.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely, yes.
So
we need
give them a
volunteers.
site. Where can they go? Where can people go right now if they want to find out more information? Is there a place to go?
Yes, so ElRodCenter.com.
Would somebody put that in the comment section for people too?
ElRodCenter.com. Our first artist training is March 17th, and then we hope to have classes up and going sometime in April or May, and we're looking for host churches and businesses that are willing to host it while we look for a location for ourselves. We also need donations. So this is obviously a big undertaking to be able to really stop this epidemic. There's been 5 teen suicides in 2 weeks. 5.
Here, that's just
Here
in the area.
Or in this area, in Lane County, in 2 weeks. And the statistics are, if somebody knows somebody that has completed suicide, the odds of them attempting it go up astronomically.
So I'm not going to mention who, but I had a really good friend whose daughter hanged herself a few years ago, a year and a half or 2 years ago. And what with the latest round of these going on, they're having all their other children in the house are now back in therapy and doing things because it's coming back. And that may not make sense to you, but it's not about you. It doesn't need to make sense to you. That's what happens is they think she took her life. Now this is my way out too. And
right. It gives them the idea that it's an option, and
so
it should never be an option.
It sounds absolutely insane to somebody who's not in that place, but then we're not put on this earth to judge one another. And just trust me and you, this is what happens. So every child that is taking their life is then setting up the rest of that family for that same kind of thing. And think about the poor families like Jason and our friends that this last week. I mean, because my heart goes out to them, and now they have other things they get to worry about now as well.
And all the other teens in town that heard about it, they're all in crisis.
And you're meeting with the family of Chloe's family.
Yes.
So that's a really cool thing. So see, things are happening. So a lot of you have been coming on my page and you've been saying, what are we going to do? And you're frantic. Fear not. This is not about fear. We should not be fearing this at all.
No, this is an opportunity.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity for change because we know what to do.
And so it's just being...
It's a matter of doing it.
It's being gutsy enough to take it on and really do it. And obviously, you guys, like I always say on here, if you feel bad, great. If you do nothing about it, I don't care how you feel. Feelings, we all go, oh, I feel bad, and then you walk away and you go have your lunch and you go do all your other stuff. Feel enough to go, you know what, I want to be the change that I can make.
I want to do something about it. That's what Julie and I said. We said, you know what, we could complain or we can do something. So we say, you know what, we're going to do something.
So, and you're a professional, you're in the business, you're a therapist, you know how this works.
I do.
So she can come in here. I think it would be super fun. To be like one of, I don't know, art.
Would you like to come to the training?
I want to go to the training only
Okay.
because I think how much more that would help me to be a member of the community to understand. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
And I'd like to also offer, I will train anyone and everyone. I want everyone to know these skills. Everyone that interacts with a child, a parent, a teacher, a coach. The more people that we could get to interact therapeutically with kids to build up their sense of self and wellness, the less they're going to want to have to bully other kids.
Right.
And that's where we stop it.
Just think how many frustrated parents are out there who are going, they're just trying to find some way that they can get that connection. And we aren't taught this. I mean, I learned this in 10 minutes with her just sitting here going, I have got a great show today. I had no idea. I trust Julie. She calls up, says, hey, we want to buy a show. I'm going, great. I love your topic. We're doing it. And then I come in here and I'm like, you guys, this is the way it works. This is what happens. Will you have volunteer positions for teens to help teens?
Yes. So that's an amazing question. We are intending to have a big brother, big sister type program come back. And one of the facets of that is we're going to have a youth one. So we're going to have youth mentorship. It's going to be a structured because we really need to make sure that the kids are safe.
Right.
So we're going to have it a very structured, but yes, we are going to have a youth mentoring youth program.
So you guys, one of the things you can do to help is share this right now on people's pages. If you know someone that is going to be interested in this, or they're having trouble with their kids, or things aren't going right, which would be just about everybody I know, share it on their page. I mean, God, you guys, the thing is, it's not, we have not been taught this.
No.
So we don't have to feel guilty and bad about it. Instead, what we just have to do is turn it around.
Let me encourage everybody, because this isn't anybody's fault. This isn't, I didn't know this before I went to school and learned all this stuff. I was doing it wrong myself. My family, they didn't know any of this stuff, We've all got stuff in our families. This is new to all of us.
Right.
So give yourself some grace.
It's timing.
Yeah.
Now is the time for this to come forward.
Now is the time for change. Now is the time to fix this epidemic, to stop it in its tracks, and to go from reactive and triage to preventative.
And isn't that really loving our kids?
Yes, and they're going to feel so loved and amazing. I really cannot hammer this home enough, because everybody likes to demonize the bullies. But the bullies are reacting out of pain.
Right. And
everything that they do is for a reason, right? It's to achieve a goal. There is a need being filled by the bullying. And if they could get that need filled in another way, they would. Right. And so we are going to try to help them do that.
And what I think is enlightening about what you just said today, we just saw in here, is some of that is not just being mean.
Yeah.
There's a chemical reason that
there is a reason.
I mean, yes, there's a choice there. We understand that.
Yes.
I agree. You make the choice to be mean, but then all of a sudden you're going, wait, I just got that feeling.
Right.
That I need to feel valuable. And because I didn't get it through therapy or through conversation or this. And
I want to be clear that, yes, it is a choice. And it goes back to ethics, it goes back to morals, and it goes back to a lot of those things too. So I am not in any way excusing any of that behavior.
No.
All I'm simply saying is there is a biological component to it.
Right.
So if we can give them that sense of self and well-being within themselves, the drive to need to do that is no longer going to be there.
Well, see, and it's kind of interesting because we're created that way.
Yeah.
For this all is a process, but what's happened is culturally we've got out of sync with the creator, creation and the creator and how it was supposed to be done. And so now it's just with scientific information, it's almost like God's going, okay, they're not getting it. Now I'm going to show you something new. Here's the reason you need this chemically and that kind of thing. And so then there's an opportunity for people to go in this. And it's not just of faith. That's my opinion. But this is going to work for everybody. And it's not teaching them. It's not something that you guys are a faith-based group, but it's not something where you're going to be. This is not proselytizing to people. This is real therapy.
I want to touch on that. Yes, we are faith-based, but we are all-inclusive, and we are not evangelical. We do not pray in public. We don't do any of that stuff. We're faith-based in the background, but we are purely professional and do not push our beliefs on anybody. Right. We are open to every single. This
is just therapy.
This is just therapy.
Healthy people.
Healthy people.
So you guys, again, if you want to help out, go to ElRod, go to the website that somebody's put on there earlier. I saw the comments fly in there. And yes, our bottom line takes money. So they're going to need funding.
It's a community problem, so we need the community to help. We need
grant writers.
Grant writers, yes.
Oh my gosh, if you're a grant writer and you're just sitting around going, I really want to be valuable again. This is pretty valuable. If you have office space, if you have a place or someone who has a space where they could put this, those are all little things. You may have a connection. You're going, oh yeah, but I don't. No, make the phone call and don't call them up and say, hey, Bill Johnson has some office space. You know Bill Johnson. You call him and you set up an appointment for him. Because I've learned that through networking. Don't give me just give me a lead and write it on a piece of paper. I need a number. I need you to do an introduction for me because and that's this. That's what we're talking about.
Piece.
So then you have more involvement in it because you had to participate or you chose to participate. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And we're relational. We don't just want you to write a check and say, see you later. We want to build a relationship with you. We want to have that interaction. We want a monthly get together with all the supporters so everybody can talk to one another and talk about all the changes that are happening and maybe have a monthly fundraising dinner or something like spaghetti feed or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing something out. But we're relational, and relationships are how we're going to fix this in this community.
Because that's really where the
it's all relationships, yes.
To help out, please go to. Oh, right, LaDonna's got you covered there.
Thank you, LaDonna.
So glad you're covering this. Oh, Rachel, you're welcome. So there you go, you guys. So take this, share it, get involved. Do not tell me that it is hopeless. I will never believe that there's no hope.
No, there's so much more information, but there's way too much, and I'm not going to bore you guys with it. But
you haven't bored us with it so far. So you guys, again, please share this to your page, just at least to your own page. And just so you know, I know if you do or don't. Because some people, I can see, it tells me how many shares there are. So I'm watching you. I think it's funny, I always tell people to share it, and then I'm going, 3 people shared it, or 20, you know. But the other day you really responded to the family, to Chloe's family, and you shared it 1,000 times, and 60,000 people showed up. So we need those same people to hear
Annie.
This and hear the hope. Okay? So thank you for taking the time to do this today. I am so dang excited. I was not expecting this. So all of you should be walking away going, phew, I had a mind blow. And the next person you run into say, I had a mind-blowing experience. I saw this thing on Rick Dancers. It's ElRod, and that's all you have to know.
Come on down. Even if you're not an artist, we have volunteer spots for a bunch of different types of stuff. So please, this is a community-wide thing.
What about non-English speaking?
We're trying to become multilingual.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to invite all of the different ethnicities, and so yeah, please.
Okay, so if you hold on, who is that? I'm going to see who you were, because if you
mean non-English, will you pass it?
Yeah, did I pass it?
I already have.
So Ramiro.
Yeah, I have some Hispanic.
Ramiro, get in touch with them, because maybe
Please.
you could be that connection to be the translator, or know people who could do that. You just defined your piece of the pie.
Yes, yeah, we're actually looking to try to set up some Hispanic classes, some non-English speaking classes, and then as the needs come up with other languages, we'd like to be able to be multi-ethnic, absolutely,
right? Because
completely inclusive.
This isn't a. Okay, he's laughing out loud.
Thank you.
You're laughing probably how I pronounce your name, probably. Somebody just shared it in Alaska as well. Let people know, because you guys, other people could remodel this in other communities. This isn't but we're starting it here to try to get this going. This is so much hope, and life turns out at a dime. ElRod Center is for all.
Now, one other thing is we are creating it in such a way that regardless of who the kids are working with, if they have problems, if they have insurance, and working with another agency, because insurance dictates you can only have one mental health provider.
Oh, okay.
We have modeled it in such a way they can still come to ElRod.
Oh, wow.
We have done it so that we can work with anybody. Their kids can still come get classes.
So don't let that be a deterrent.
So do not let that be a boundary. We can work with whomever.
All right. You guys just keep coming up with more ideas. All right. Model in Portland. Okay.
We have interest in Salem and Portland already to adopt this model, so it probably won't take long.
I have a feeling this is going to do really well.
Well, once they see the success in the kids, I think it will take off.
And we're all looking for answers. We just want answers, and we're tired of fluff and the same old BS.
Yeah.
And we are looking for something that has some foundation. I think we're past the milk phase, and we're looking for meat.
Yep.
And whether you're a vegetarian or not, you're looking for tofu. You know what I mean. You're looking for protein. All right, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Julie, love you. Thank you so much. And she was a darn good babysitter. She must be a good mom, because she was
She's a great
at
mom.
10 years old, she was a great little babysitter. All right, we'll see you guys later. See you on, for sure, on Friday. We're going to go to a farm, and we're talking about women for Oregon agriculture. These are women in our state who are trying to tell the accurate story of agriculture and what farmers do. Because let me tell you, folks, you all use it because you're eating it every day, you're wearing it every day, and without agriculture, we'd have nothing. So another fun show that's going to just challenge you. We're going to get you guys, all of us, educated.
Yes.
All right, see you later, guys. Share it. You heard me. Share it.